Yeah, this is Paul. Yeah. I was looking at this jailhouse lawyer, a prisoner who studies the law while in jail in order to help himself and or his fellow prisoners. You know, there are those that say that really all I'm doing is just being a jailhouse lawyer. I know I'm not an attorney, okay? I did get a bachelor's degree in organizational management, and I did make $1 million in 5 years, and I was a stockbroker and a commodity trading advisor and a loan officer, and I had owned multiple businesses, and I've been an insurance man for 16 years and been appointed with maybe 30, 40 different companies. But you'd be surprised how many police officers, sheriffs, and those in judiciaries think that because I'm not an attorney, I don't know what the law says and what the law means. Now, let's say you issue a protection order that violates my rights to due process. And it is such that there's a sheriff that thinks, well, he's just a jailhouse lawyer. He really doesn't know what he's talking about. But I provide the documentation that there's no signature of the petitioner. In fact, there was no service of due process in 2011. In fact, you violated my rights 16 times, approximate number of times, before there were court hearings, because I don't really think you attempted any sort of service all of the times that you reissued permanent protection orders or modified protection orders. Now, I know there's probably some sort of written statement. Well, we can't find the guy. We don't know where he's at. But I've worn the same clothes for the last 5 years for the most part. I mean, I had this coat for, well, 2.5, 3 years. Yes. And I stayed at the Serenity House numerous times, and I'm eating at the Salvation Army, I don't know, probably over 1,000 times. And I went to AA pretty much every morning, and you could have seen the bus surveillance footage if you really wanted to get a hold of me. And I really made it very easy to find me. Now, it seems to me that there are some false statements that have been used to justify not executing a a real attempt at personal service. Now, let's say you're high up there in the judiciary. You're one of these judges that was a clerkship, or you went to law school and you graduated and you did pretty well for yourself, and you think, boy, I'm smart. But I got arrested. I went to jail on Guam for 10 days because my wife made up a story about domestic violence and domestic abuse. And you decided you're going to issue a protection order that violates my rights, violates the custody rights of myself as a father, violates the rights of my sons, violates the Violence Against Women's Act, and violates the civil rights of every law in the United States. Now, as a Superior Court judge or one of these state court justices, I know you think I'm just a jailhouse lawyer. But you'd be surprised that if you can actually become a stockbroker, even though it's at home study, you'd be surprised that if you could actually make a couple $100,000 a year for 4 or 5 years in a row, that you actually have to learn a lot to be able to do those types of professions. Now, I don't have a JD after my name, but I'm sure that when the law says that you actually have to have notice and opportunity to be heard before issuing any court process, that's what it means. Now, I'm not an attorney. I don't have a Juris Doctorate. I didn't go to law school. But I did make a lot of money, and it seems like somebody has intentionally thought that they were smarter than I am, because I decided I wasn't going to cooperate with those that violate the rights of citizens. Now, it seems a long way around to be homeless for 6 years. Living in homeless shelters and eating at soup kitchens, being tortured day after day after day after day. But you're a sheriff, and you thought you were smarter than I am. Now, most sheriffs should just enforce the law, and when you know there's a crime, you should arrest those that are involved in any sort of criminality. Now, as an American citizen, as I said so many times, I'm not an attorney, but I'm not stupid either.